don't run after money at all, and value money. I'm not that kind of a person that I want to take so much and not deliver.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Breaking Uneven podcast. We love to talk shop, uncover the beauty of failures and play a few games. Today we have with us Sachi Biyani, a podcaster, marketing strategist and content creator. Sachi, how are you feeling?
I'm good, I'm great.
Awesome. So Sachi, you completed your BBA in sales and marketing from Les Roches in Switzerland.
Yep.
And then you worked in hospitality for a few years with the likes of Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts, massive restaurants and gourmet investments. You then worked in marketing at High Spirit Commercial Ventures and VIP. You are now a brand strategist, and due to your passion for music, you started your own podcast called Let Me Backstage.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's just get straight into the conversation.
Yes. So this, I guess, entire episode, we are focused on the different ways and the multiple streams of income. And but before we delve into that, we curious to know, how did the podcast start, and how did the mixture of music and marketing come together? What came first?
So I come from a very corporate family background. My father himself was the head of Compass Group, which is the largest catering company internationally and domestically as well. So I always saw the 9-to-5 routine at home. My father was my mentor. Whatever he did, whatever he said, I did the same thing. I had a sibling. He chose to walk his own path. He became an engineer. But I really saw my dad, what he did, how he did. And basis that, I kind of came to a nutshell that I wanted to be him. And that's what I saw in life. I always saw structure. I always saw being professional, being on time, being mechanical, if I would say, and being organized, because that's all I saw. That was the world I was living in at a very young age.
Yeah.
And fortunately, my father, even though when he used to come back from his work, he used to sit with us, teach us small things, even though we were 13, 14, 15 years of age. And while I remember I was 13, I used to always take a newspaper and start reading the newspaper, like just reading. And then I knew that communication and marketing and being around people was something that I wanted to do, but didn't know exactly what field I wanted to go in. So marketing was one thing, but it wasn't enough for me. So while I was going to college, I was just finishing school and I was going to college. My dad was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I definitely want to do something in the marketing space, but it's not enough. I want to excel at a specific industry. So he was like, do hospitality, because that's what he was doing. He was in the catering, industry, and he knew that well. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do that. And hence I, went to Les Roches in Switzerland. I did my BBA in sales and marketing. Partied a lot, didn't learn much, to be very honest. It just goes behind your face, because you're just partying and having a good time. I mean, I don't know how college was for you guys, but that was college for me. Yeah. And I came back, I got into Shangri-La group of hotels as a corporate management trainee. And I did the course sales and marketing. But I was, when I joined Shangri-La, I was in the sales department. And I realized that I really wasn't enjoying myself. Because when you learn sales and marketing, you learn it together. Yeah. Because sales and marketing as a department, it is a department that really, helps each other. Yeah. Sales cannot function without marketing. Marketing cannot function without sales. So when you're studying a subject, you learn sales and marketing together. So while I was put in sales, and my job as a sales management trainee was to go and knock on doors of corporate firms to get business. So I used to go meet secretaries. I used to meet account managers and say that, okay, how many rooms would you require? Because I used to, work in corporate sales. And I used to be like, okay, this year, how many guests are you coming? Are you going to have 300 rooms, 200 rooms? And that was my job. But then after 3-4 months, I was like, what am I doing? I don't like sales. I'm not a salesperson. I am not, I don't know. I don't have that knack in me to sell. Although I started developing it, but for me, it was marketing. It was more communications. It was more PR. It was more strategy. So that came later in life. So then I got switched to marketing. I went to the general manager of the hotel and I said that, I'm so sorry, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing and I need you to put me in marketing. And what he did, he's like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna put you in a different department. He put me in housekeeping. So I was making beds for another 3 months. I was cleaning toilets, I was making beds. And I went to him after 3 months and I spoke to my dad. I was like, I don't want to do this. You're putting me in situations that I don't want to be in. He's like, just do it. And the day you feel you don't want to do it anymore, you go to the GM and tell him that you don't want to be in this department. I made beds, I cleaned toilets, I did everything possible. I learned how to make the most crisp bed on the planet, the most fluffiest pillows you could find. I did all of that. And after 3 months, I was like, this is not for me. And I was a foreigner. This was in the Philippines. So you're communicating with Filipinos who only prefer speaking their language. So imagine you're a foreigner with all Filipinos who have zero interest in speaking English and they like being with their barkadas, which is their group of friends and their community. And I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. So I went to the GM and I was just like, listen, this is not up my alley. You need to really put me in communications or marketing. And I feel like that is my forte. And that's what he did. Then he put me in marketing. I did marketing and PR for 3 months. But sad to say, Philippines as a country doesn't have enough to offer in terms of opportunities. And I knew Bombay was always the city of dreams, the city of opportunities. I think everyone says that. And I used to come every year and I came to Bombay. And then I decided that I want to stay back in Bombay and do something that I want to do in a larger scale of things, because over there, opportunities were very, very less. Came here, randomly, I knew that I had to work with Massive Restaurants. So Massive Restaurants is owned by Zorav Kaldra. So the restaurants such as Farzi Cafe, Masala Bar, Masala Library. And I was like, I have to work for this brand and I got to do marketing. I literally went for an event. I told my friend, take me for this event. I'm going to get a job here.
Wow.
I met him. I was like, listen, I love what you're doing. I want to work for you. He's like, okay, take this number, give him a call. He was the head of sales for India. After a week, I got in touch. I got the job.
Wow.
And I got double what I was making in the Philippines.
Wow, okay.
And I didn't even have to negotiate. I was just like, yeah, sure. I'll take it. So, you know that when you realize that it's a gut feeling, no matter what you do in life, when you know that you're left in a situation where you're not doing what you want to do and you're not doing enough of what your caliber is, you gotta trust your gut.
Yeah.
And because I know, like, I've been surrounded by such great mentors in my life, I knew I had that support system as well to make the right decisions at a very young age. So I got the job. I worked for Massive. I was heading marketing for India. And along with Zamir who's heading sales. And I did phenomenally well. I made amazing contacts, amazing connections. I used to do a lot of events. I used to host 4 events a week.
Oh, wow.
I used to plan the entire marketing calendar, make strategies, sit down with the PR agency as well and see that how we can boost sales. So again, it was marketing kind of helping boost sales. That was the whole agenda in the restaurant space. And I did well for about 3 years. I was with them. And then I got poached at one of the launch events of Massive, which was a restaurant in Kamla Mills. Forget the name, but it was the launch of one of the restaurants that we were opening. And at that point, someone reached out to me and said that you need to meet this person because you're on the watch. I was like, sure. I met him. Ramit Mittal's company, which is Gourmet Investments. They own Pizza Express and etc. Multiple restaurants, and called me. I got the offer double what I got. Double in the sense like double, like 100%. And they were like, we want to give this to you. No interview, nothing. Literally called me. I sat for a cup of coffee with them and they're like, we need to give this to you. And I got the job. And I was doing really well. And then I got married. So while I was getting married, because see, the restaurant space is a very hectic lifestyle. Especially for a lady, you can't be awake till 1 o'clock in the night, 2 o'clock. When I'm young, you can do everything, whatever you want, you know. But then, like, imagine 3 times a week, because there's so many events, there's so many dinners, there's so many parties, there's so many functions that you attend as a head of sales and marketing. It was impossible for me to continue this as a lifestyle. I loved what I did. I excelled at it because I knew this is what I wanted to do from day one. And I started getting those opportunities. But I was like, it is really taking away from what I want to do in my personal life as well. So I got married and my husband's like, join me. I need you to help me. My husband has his real estate business and the agriculture business as well. And I went to Nagpur. His farms are in Nagpur. And he's like, come join me. Help me in marketing for the farms. And I was like, okay. So I went and I saw him working in the farms, whatever he does. Like, acha, ye pesticide dalo, ye spray dalo. And I'm like,
what do I do?
I don't want to do anything of this. So I told him, I said, listen, thank you for the opportunity. I'm going back. I'm going to do something that what I want to do. And then I joined the FMCG space, which is Priority Bags and Traveled. Priority is a mass backpack brand. And I was heading their marketing for them. And then after that, I got poached by VIP. So I keep getting poached,
Yeah.
And then I was in VIP. I just left 5 months ago. And I always want to do something on my own in marketing. And I told myself, my husband used to keep telling me, Sachi, you're not worth working for someone else. You need to work on your own and you can build something on your own very seamlessly. I said, no, the day I'm confident of my own self, that day I will leave. And that day was 5 months ago where I was heading 100 crore business. I was in Skybags, it's divided into different segments. I was handling the school segment. And that was a portfolio of 100 crores. So I was handling 100 crores with 350 SKUs of products. And the day I realized that I've learned everything and I want to do something of my own is the day I put my papers down and I said that this is it. But to answer your question, first came marketing, then came the podcast. And the podcast came because my interest in music began when I started doing the whole marketing in the hospitality industry. I had to program music, DJs, you name any DJ, they all know me. So the interest of different genres of music came at that point because I had access to everything. So we had 3 nights, one was a DJ night, electronic music. We had Desi, Bollywood music. So, I started enjoying the music space as well. And a friend of mine got in touch with me. He himself is a promoter in the industry. And he said that if I had to get someone, it had to be you. So you need to come and join me on the podcast. And I'm like, I would do it happily because the podcast is all about music. And we're the first audiovisual podcast that does everything music. And we interview the leading DJs, musicians, industry leaders, artists, and of the country and the world.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a very cool podcast, if I must say, and it's going really well. So that is something new that I've started, and I love speaking. Like I said, at a very young age, that newspaper just gave me a whiff of like what I want to do in life, and it is something that I enjoy to do. I like communicating, I like speaking to people, and that really helped me channelize that aspect of my life.
For sure. And I mean, like, listening to you now, like, we know a podcast works for you really well. But in terms of your day, so in the last 5 months, it's been completely different from a typical 9 to 5. So what does your day look like now?
Yeah. So nice question, because I keep, when I left the 9 to 5 job, I was so used to the 9 to 5 life, right? And I was like, oh my God, when I'm going to leave, I'm going to hate it, because I'm so used to such a hectic. While I was doing the 9 to 5, I used to wake up in the morning, go to the gym, go to work, come back home by 7:30, and I was drained.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like, because then there was no time for me. And I was like, I have to change something, because I need to utilize my day the way I want to utilize it, which I was not able to do. And now I absolutely love it. I thought I would hate it. I thought I would miss my 9 to 5. But here I am my own boss. I'm able to squeeze in a workout. I have 3 clients as a marketing strategist. I have my podcast. I create content. I host events as well. So there's so much going on. And, there was a lot of opportunity on my plate for the last 2 years. But I did not take it, because I was just mastering one skill of mine, which was marketing. And I didn't want to take anything. I was just like, I will do what I have to do. And the day I realize I'm capable of doing other things, I will. And that was the day which happened 5 months ago, because I've been in the industry for 14 years. And that day I told myself that, Sachi, you're ready to move on. And a lot of people who are used to the 9 to 5 life, when they come out of it, the first 1-2 months are always great, but they start missing the schedule the 3rd, 4th month, because they're used to a routine. But the thing is, I'm very good at a routine, whether you put me into a 9 to 5 or you don't put me into a 9 to 5. I'm a routine person. I like to wake up in the morning. I like to hit the gym. I like to come back, have my meal, plan my day, because planning is ingrained in my system, like I said, right? Yeah. Planning, organizing, being structured is what I've been taught all my life. My father, even though when I had to have a 2-minute discussion, it had to happen on the dinner table. I could not sit on the couch and speak to him, because he was so particular about these things. And now I have become that person that whether you take away a 9 to 5 from me or you don't, I still am that person. And my day is so busy. Yeah. I have so many things that are going on, and things that now I'm trying to also learn about my stuff that I can potentially do. So that's what...
it feels more exciting.
It seems, and when you become your own boss, you start realizing what you are capable of, which you never will when you're in a 9 to 5.
100%. And I think like the ownership of time, right? Like you really appreciate that. And like me as well, I think the ability to decide like when I want to do what in my day, like it's not restricting like, oh, I don't want to work as many hours as I used to, but more like when I want to, I can do that. Like that liberation really helps.
Yeah. And I'm sure people who are working in the 9 to 5 space as well, there are days where you finish your work at 3 p.m., but you can't leave because that's the rule of the company, that you have to be there from 9 to 6. And there are certain days where I did finish on time, where I did not finish on time, and I finished my work at 3:34, and I decided to go home. And my boss calls me, he's like, "Where are you, Sachi?" And I live 5 minutes from my office. And I was like,
what a dream in Bombay.
And he's like, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm done for the day. I'm actually done for the day. I want to go home. I had some work to do, so I left." No, but you have to do a 9 to 6. And it just didn't sit with me. Yeah. I understand you have to do a 9 to 6, but when a person works on multiple days till 7:38, what about that? Yeah. So you can't,
it's never, the company's always wanted both ways. That's never going to change.
That's never going to change. So don't even expect things to change. And those things started to bother me when I started to realize that now I'm capable of doing things on my own. If this happened 2 years ago, I would have like, oh shit, oh my God, So you also have to time it in your life when you are ready to move on.
100%, yeah.
So let's dial it back 5 months, right? 5 months ago, you put in your papers. The next day, what did you do?
Oh my God, you won't believe I had a movie scheduled at 2:00, and I'm like, oh my God, am I watching a movie at 2? This feels so liberating. So my cousin had booked a movie, and she was like, would you come? I was like, wait, I can't. I was like, wait, I can. And then, but the thing was, after a week or so, I already had clients signed up with me, so I was quite busy.
So the first step was getting the marketing strategist on a contractual basis. That was the first step.
I already had two clients before quitting because I didn't want to quit with nothing in hand. And I'm one person, I can't just be idle.
Right.
So so after I quit, of course, the next day I chilled for a day or two, but my plan was ready. Like, what am I going to do next? So I had that scheduled out. I had that planned out where I said that I need to at least have one client that will keep me busy. So I had like a month before I quit my job, I had a client that I was communicating with, and I closed the deal a week after I quit. And then in that week, I got another client as well through a referral. And
at this stage, did you know the podcast was going to happen?
Yeah, the podcast has been happening for 2 years, no, a year now.
Okay, cool.
So that is just a side hustle that's happening because it doesn't take much of my time. It's not a day-to-day requirement that is needed. We shoot 3-4 times a month, and that covers pretty much 2 months of content that we need. And
then I think our numbers exactly the same. 2 shoots a day, and then that's
But besides that,
I was telling her before the podcast how we pre-record and like push it all into a day. And then,
yeah. But we have festivals to attend as well. So there's, besides the podcast, we are also creating. I was telling her we're also trying to create experiential centers for events. Backstage experiential zones, and so that also takes some of our time. And there are like multiple things that are happening when it comes to the podcast. So I spend about a week in a month for the podcast, dedicated for the podcast. And then we help in the edits and, all that also requires time.
For sure.
So let's say in a month, I spend around 10 days for the, more or less 10 days for the podcast. Yeah.
So podcast was already happening. You had a client or two. Content creation, was that like, had you already
started your journey?
I'm not going to ask what your follower count was at that time, but were you focused on it?
Not
I
at all.
Not. Okay,
not at all. Zero. Because I was, like I said, I didn't have time. I used to go to the gym. So before I quit, the podcast was happening. So my schedule was work, podcast, meet friends, sleep. But the content creation opportunities and attending events and hosting was already there. I had that network and I had I had the opportunities, but I never took it because I was very tired. Maybe on a weekend, on a Sunday, if brand reaches out to me saying that we love what you're doing and we love the content that you're creating, then I'll be like, okay, cool. If it's a cool brand, then I would probably do it. But then I wouldn't do it all the time. I would have to say no 90%. But after I quit my job, I was anyways getting those opportunities, and I started taking in one. And once you say yes to one, it's just, and if you've done a good job in that, and if people like it, then the momentum just starts.
There's a snowball effect.
It starts rolling. Yeah.
Okay, so next question would be, again, 5 months ago, right? We're talking 1 week, the day you quit, and then 1 week later, right? Like now you have a client that you're working with.
Yeah.
But there's no office. There's no 4 walls. What does that shift like? You said you've been 9 to 5 your entire life. Your father's been 9 to 5 his entire life. So the idea is, yes, there's a routine, but there's also a distinction, right? Leaving your home space and getting into office space and then back. What is that like? Like, were you working from home?
It's tough.
You were working from home?
Yeah, I'm still working from home.
You're still working from home?
Yeah, I don't have an office because I have only 3 clients. And
that must be like really, really tough, right?
Oh my God. Very tough. Because I like my space. I like a desk. I like that space where home is home, work is work. I like that. Yeah. and I don't have a working space as well. So I sit off my dining table and work right now. So I'm trying to create a small space for me, but I need to. So that is my goal as well. That not so fast, but the next 6 months, 1 year, I would want to have a small working space because I don't like working from home.
Yeah.
It is. It's not a nice scene. The cook is cooking, pressure cooker ka awaaz aa raha hai. Like, just no, like it's just can't. Like sitting, okay, one time I'm sitting on the dining table, then I go to the couch, then I go to the room, then I go to the other. It's just, it's like not who I am, and I need to figure this out. It's very tough for a person who's worked, from a 9 to 5 to working from home. It's very tough.
When I was in London that time, I was working from home there, and I literally got to a point where I used to eat lunch while working at 12:15.
Yeah.
And then at 1 o'clock, when everyone broke for lunch, I'd go and take a nap. Because I was like, we're all working from home.
Yeah.
I know they're going to be out for like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And COVID in general had gotten me really used to a freaking afternoon nap. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to eat lunch at 12:15 while working. And then at 1, I'm going to go and like take a half an hour nap. And that was like the worst habit ever.
Oh my God. Like with the Calcutta, like, what do they
Yes,
right?
yes.
In Calcutta, after lunch, everyone is sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, they shut all their stores and everything. And that at our age is just not right.
Not right. It's like, it was a bad space for me.
I think for us also, like, because that's most of what we saw. Like, we started our career literally in COVID.
Both
so like there was
began.
no the only
Right.
office experience I had before that was my internship, which was 8 like multiple internships, but the longest one was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, fine, I went to the office for 8 weeks, and then after that, like my next job that started, I was working from home for a year and a half.
Oh my God.
So
That's
I
really
again
sad.
got used to just
Yeah.
I hated it
Yeah.
at the start. Then I got really used to like the advantages of it. So it was great.
Yeah. A lot of perks of working
A
from
lot
home.
of perks. So it was fine. But like at the start of it, it was isolating because you don't know like your team properly. Like you don't understand things that are going on. It's difficult to like ask everyone to join a Teams call every like half an hour.
Absolutely.
So like things like that.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference. But like to a certain extent, that was like kind of what we saw.
Yeah.
For me, like I went the entire opposite of what happened to you. So I was in London working from home for about a year, and then I moved back and I was suddenly in office 5 days a week. So it was the entire like opposite shift.
Opposite.
And that to me at first was like, so I used to, I'll say this honestly, take naps on this couch after lunch. I would come and
That's
like,
why this room was made, like, not for the podcast.
so
Secret.
The nap
the original use of this space.
Yeah.
But I'm not joking. It took me 3 months to like snap out of it. Because for a year I used to take afternoon naps.
It is when you're used to a routine.
Yeah.
And more than anything, I had great colleagues at work. So I loved going for lunches together. I loved working together as a team. People interaction, that's zero when you are working from home.
I love that. I hated I still hate the travel for anything. Like even in London, it was like going to work was like an hour in total, or hour and a half in total, and I was like, oh my god, like I could do so much more with that hour and a half than anything else. And then like because of like the whole day being out, it's like you're exhausted at night, you're not gonna do anything.
Exactly.
So it's like even like your food and stuff like that gets messed up, because if I came home by like 7:38, then I would be too lazy to actually cook myself like a proper meal. So I would like find the easiest thing I could put together and like just eat that. So it's just like because again, I think for me, I didn't have that office routine, so I never got into it. And then when I had to go into the office more regularly than I was used to, it used to like that day used to be like the roguest of them all. Like I used to do the most random things, but it was like, okay, fine, it's one day, how does it matter?
Yeah.
And then it was like the remaining days used to be work from home, and now again, like it's work from home. So mine like doesn't match either of yours.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. I am like a more structured person. Like I would appreciate an office, but at this point I'm like, okay, like I can't.
I actually like a bit of travel time between home and office because it's like time for me to like dial in and dial out.
It's your own time.
Yeah, like
I hate travel time for anything. Like that's why I don't like going anywhere, because it's like
I mean,
So-
fair. Like in India, it's not, you can't really dial out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you feel, but like I'm responding to emails at 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
So I drive.
You drive.
I drive.
Yeah, same.
And it's me time, definitely, but not like an hour.
Not
I
an
mean,
hour.
Yeah,
Like
I've
half
said
an hour,
like
45 minutes is good.
half an hour. If it's okay, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. I'm okay driving half an hour. And yes, I consider driving as me time because you're just when I was working, you're just around people all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I just
And then you
love
go
this.
home and you're around people again.
All the
Yeah.
time. So it's like music is on. I like it.
Yeah.
It's for me, or you listen to a podcast or whatever you like, and I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I know people who travel for an hour and a half one way, and it's like, what the
That's
hell?
insane.
It's like
Yeah.
That's
3
insane.
hours from Thane to Worli, and it's just
For me, it's like about 50 minutes now just because of all the construction.
yeah.
But it's fine. It's me and Taylor Swift, and that's
Oh, you're a Swiftie.
Big time
Oh my god. Nice
I
to
don't know if
nice
that's
to.
a judgy one.
No,
or-
not at all. Not at all. I just came back from Australia, and my sister-in-law's die-hard Swiftie. Like die-hard. So she went for all the concerts. There was a 4-day concert. She went for all of them.
Oh, wow.
And she convinced my brother to become a Swiftie. So he's a Swiftie also. So it's not a bad thing. It's really cute.
So currently, since you're working from home, you're working as a marketing strategist, do you feel the need now or in the next 6 months to employ people under you?
Not at this point, but eventually, yes. See, I have 3 clients. I can manage them myself. And right now, I don't think I need someone. But yes, I will be getting more clients on board. And the 4th client will require me
To have someone else.
to have at least 2 people on board, because I'll need that sort of support. I won't be able to do it on my own. I'm a strategist, so I plan, strategize. The thing is, my job is, I don't know if you've heard of, it's called a fractional CMO.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am sort of a fractional CMO where the base of the company is set. There are employees already in the marketing team, but the marketing team is not performing as to its capacity. So I, as a strategist, come in to strategize the entire plan for the team and ensure that, you know, the KPIs, the sales figures, the entire plan is executed. So for a fractional CMO, normally you don't need a very large team, because you are the brains. You go into a company that already has a
As that
setup.
team. Yeah.
But the thing is, when you have more clients to plan, you know, my day out and to understand what strategy to deploy, you need 2 to 3 people to at least act as the account manager. So at this point, I feel it's going very smoothly because there are fairly large teams that are there in these companies, and I don't need a second hand. But I've just closed on another project where I've looped in another person along with me, because I don't think I won't have the bandwidth to take care of 4 clients. So on this specific project that I have taken up, I have looped in someone who will be sort of my point of contact to kind of execute everything. Yes. And that's how I will be doing for every project now. Yeah.
Fair. So currently, then you don't have anyone in your payroll, so to say.
No.
Which makes it easier then to like figure out what you want to also do and like the
Absolutely.
amount of what you want to do as well.
Absolutely,
Because then there are no
Yeah.
like set costs.
Yeah,
as
because
such.
it's only been 5 months.
Yeah.
But the goal is, of course, to expand and to get as many clients as possible. But I'm not that kind of a person that I want to take so much and not deliver. Because at the end of the day, the reason why someone is hiring me as a fractional CMO or as a marketing strategist is for the skills that I bring to the table. And if I'm not able to give enough time to that person, it's unfair. So maybe I can get 4 more clients. I'll have to also see my bandwidth and see and ensure that everyone who I get on as a client has enough time that I can, you know, provide to them.
100%. And I think like your role is also very niche, and it's like a problem solving role, like
Yes.
which needs you to be in every,
Absolutely. And
like,
I'm
involved in every
Absolutely. I'm required to be in part of the sales meeting, product meeting, pricing, marketing, because marketing is just not marketing the product. It is establishing the brand's base. So it's like a package that you create and the salesperson just has to pick up the package and sell it. That's our job, is to bundle everything, whether it's the price, it's the product, it's the placement, it's the distribution strategy, it's the e-com strategy. So all of that is curated by me. And then we sit down with the sales team, analyze the data with them, and say that, okay, for this channel, for example, for Amazon, I'm giving you 10 products at this price because we've done a competitive analysis and we feel like this is the sweet spot for our brand. All you have to do is sell. So it is my job to be part of all the meetings possible.
Yeah.
And that requires a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many I'll be able to take, but all I tell myself is that don't be greedy. And sometimes it happens, right? Like, I want to take, and a lot of people do that, but I don't, that's not my goal. My goal is whatever client I get on board, I need that success to happen.
Fair.
Yeah.
Interestingly, on the same topic, so actually the original purpose of this room is because we shoot a TV show, which is called Melt.
And not your naps.
So it began as a marketing excellence show where we would, or initially it was just about speaking to marketing leaders and CMOs. And then over time, we realized that we were speaking to founders, we were speaking to CEOs, COOs, and even with CMOs, the conversation was not even about the traditional idea of marketing anymore. It became a strategy and growth show organically. We never actually pivoted the show. We just realized after 3 years that, hey, we're a strategy and growth show. Like, just calling it marketing is not necessarily the right term anymore.
Because I don't know what light do people see marketing in. Marketing is like, oh, you market a product, you put it on TV, you put it on socials, and you create content.
In today's day and age, the word digital marketing pisses me off because it has ruined the word marketing for everything else.
Absolutely. And marketing is not marketing of what people think. It is so much more to marketing.
Yeah.
You basically build the foundation of a brand. That's what marketing is. And then, put it out to the sales team for them to kind of sell it out.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I guess getting into the meat of things, what are your different sources of income right now?
Yeah. So, the reason why I have come where I am with multiple sources of income is I could have done this long back as well. But what was very important to me is that I excel at one thing first, which I want to do in life, which is my bread and butter, and then think of side hustles or side incomes. So although I had the opportunities at a fairly young age, I never took anything. I first told myself that, Sachi, if marketing is what you want to do, excel in it, lead in it, and grow in it. And once you build that foundation, then you start deploying or start thinking of other opportunities or other side income. So for 14 years, I only concentrated on building my base. And last 2 years, of course, so the marketing as a professional is one aspect. I invest a lot. So I saved. I think in today's age, it's very important to save.
Yeah.
So
especially if you doubled your salary twice, I'm sure you've got the savings part sorted.
And I was very smart, I would say. I spend, but I save as well. And in today's date, if I look at the savings that I have, I'm quite proud of myself because those savings are giving me enough money to even take a holiday, you know? So one would be my actual bread and butter, which is being a marketing strategist. I invest, which I suggest everyone to do. Whether it's 20,000 a month, 30,000 a month, even 10,000 a month, you must invest because that accumulating, whether it's SIP, mutual funds, stocks, whatever you're good at, I suggest you must do that because eventually that will sort of consolidate and give you that, Om Shanti, I'm fine. Even if I am independent in my life and I don't have anyone supporting me, there's something that's there, accumulating for me.
I fully agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And content creation, it's like I said, I didn't know there was a lot of money in content creation.
Yeah.
But I've been getting so many messages from brands where they want to collaborate with me, because I'm actually not an influencer, and I don't want to become an influencer. That's not who I want to be. I want to be who I am, and if people like the content, because as a marketer, as a brand builder, you are in that space, and I love creating content for myself, and I love aesthetics. So a lot of brands have approached me in the last couple of months saying that, please, do something with us, collaborate with us. So that is another source of income. And I host events, so that is also another source of income. And then the podcast. So podcast, we are getting there. It will become my fifth source of income. But at this point, because each podcast is quite heavy, is a very heavy investment, because we shoot with 5 cameramen. We have a very large setup. We have hair and makeup. It's like a production.
Yeah.
And the costs are quite heavy.
It's
but
not like iPhones on tripods and mics plugged into an iPad.
this is very smart, by the way. Extremely smart.
We've grown into the setup. So it was way
No,
scrappy.
I love it. Honestly, it's a very beautiful setup. But the thing is, ours is a very it's part of the whole entertainment restaurant. It's a
100%.
different vibe altogether. But you guys have done a very good job, I would say, on the setup.
you.
I love it. It's very sweet. And so that we are stepping into now starting
heavy
to
costs,
we have very heavy costs, and because we have a very good lineup that's coming in, so we have very good opportunities with brands as well to sponsor our podcast. So that is my fifth source, will be my fifth source of income.
But that's insane. I like the fact that you've diversified, and honestly, a goal for myself as well is to diversify my income overall, so you're never reliant on just one aspect, and also it makes everything a little bit more fun, because you have multiple things that are also so different from each other that it makes life a little bit more fun. Then you don't kind of think about the money that's coming
Absolutely.
in.
But the only advice I would give is that excel in that one thing. So if you, example, want to become a podcaster, just freaking master that till you feel like now, even if I blink my eye, I'll have a brand come. So just master that one thing that you are so passionate about, and trust me, rest will follow. I didn't have to do much. The minute I believed in what I did was to build brands, be consumer focused, excel at marketing and build strategies. And of course, things will just play out. And if you feel like you like creating content, which is part and parcel of what you do as well, right? Because while I was in VIP industries, my job was also to create campaigns for 2 crores. So part of that campaign was your Instagram influencer campaign. Then you had your celebrity campaign, and then you had your TV, digital, e-com, everything. So you had to package everything, IPL, etc. So the campaigns that were built, you automatically, once you are in the creative space, you yourself start becoming creative. You yourself start getting ideas. So the minute you master one talent and you have that base set financially as well, then you should start thinking that, okay, now I have my base set. I'm good at this. Let's explore something else that I'm passionate about. But don't do it the minute you just started. I know a lot of Gen Z kids, and a few of them have come to me as well. Oh, I love the fact that you're doing so many things. But I did it after a very long time as well. I didn't just jump into it. I want to do this also. I want to do marketing also. If I would do that, I would be left nowhere. I would be actually a sinking boat, because
that's what happened to me. So when I moved back to 4 different businesses at once. God. I realized that within 8 or 9 months of moving back, I was burnt out for life. I was dead. And I had I wasn't doing justice to any of the 4 of them.
Exactly.
Didn't really have a vision, no purpose, existential crisis and all of that. And I'm 23 years old. What's wrong with me? And that's when I decided that, okay, 3 of these things, 2 of them I'm not even interested in. So I'm never going to look at that again. one I love, but I'm going to put that on hold because this one that I love most, like more and most, is all I'm going to focus on. So for the last year, that's all I've been focused on. Plus, like the podcast is like a fun, it's like a creative outlet for us.
And you don't do it on a daily basis.
It's not on a,
right?
not,
So
not
it
at
is
all.
on weekends or your spare time, and you have the space. So
And the thing
quick.
is, it's just about meeting interesting people, right? Like we would love for people to come and like hear the conversations, but for us, like we know that if nothing else, we are learning just from sitting across the room from people like yourself.
Absolutely.
But I totally get what you mean about like, just make sure that one thing in your life is sorted and then let the rest follow.
Yeah. So that's when, like, in those 14 years, I didn't even look at it. Like, the opportunities came, but I just said, no, I'm not interested. Because I didn't want to. I wanted to really focus. Of course, my investments were going on. I had, my husband's very good at that, and he keeps giving me advice on what to do. My dad did as well. So I had that support system to make the right investments. So that I started fairly young. But other things that require time and effort, I didn't take up those things because I didn't want to digress my thought process. And imagine if I started liking content creation. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll only do content. I'll quit my job. There is, when you're young and when you're 24, 25, you tend to make wrong decisions. So I decided I don't want to even look at anything. Just do one thing, become good, and then rest will follow.
Our generation doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult for us to tell ourselves, like, can I just no questions asked do this for 3 years? Like we can't stick with a job for more than 2 years.
I know.
So,
I know.
but we are
I
the
know.
exceptions in our generation. Like our generation, like the Gen Z,
I
1 to
agree,
2 years is the average lifespan of a job. That's
They
ridiculous.
get bored very fast.
What do you do in 1 to 2 years?
Yeah.
It's nothing. It
It's
takes 6 months to
nothing.
settle into a job.
Yeah, no, technically when I quit my job in 2 years. And then I did another job and quit it in 1 year. So technically I'm part of that. I mean, no, but it was like the same industry, different entire situation. But like, yeah, no, I agree. And I think it takes a lot of willpower also not to take advantage of an opportunity. Because like if something does come, even like my way right now, it would take a lot for me to be like, oh wait, I don't want to explore something else. Because it's so tempting.
Yeah.
And if it's like something completely different, especially if it's coming to you, like if you're not even going out to get it yourself, and if it's like there, I would be really like, I don't know whether I wouldn't have taken advantage of something that way. So it takes like a lot to like be that like focused on what, but I do agree in the sense that like focusing on one main business that is like your heart and soul is important to grow anything. So in terms of in your entire career overall, have you faced any sort of like financial challenges, and how did you like overcome if you did face any of that?
So
And no is a perfectly right answer given whatever we know of you so far.
I wouldn't call it as a challenge because I was, I remember I came out of college and my dad was very clear that he, and I got my first corporate management trainee program job and I was only paid 20,000. So he was very clear from day one that whatever money you make, you spend from that. I'm not giving you anything additional to that. If there's something that you of course, which is meaningful to you and justifiable to have, that will help you in life, of course I will spend for it, but you have to manage your own expenses. And like I said, I wouldn't call it, and I survived for 2 years with that 20,000. So of course, if I had to go for a trip with my friends, that was of course funded by my father, but he was very clear that whatever money you make, you spend. And every penny that you ask from me, it has to be justified, and there should be a sole purpose as to why I'm providing that expenditure to you. So I have always been brought up with that mindset. So I have never faced a challenge because the day I started making money, and when I moved to India, like I said, my first paycheck was double of what I earned, and it was very easy for me to move basically in Bombay and do what I wanted to do. But still, I was very careful. Even that money would survived. Like I managed for months and months, even for that one paycheck. But the thing was, I knew how to handle my finances because I was taught to handle my own finances when I was 20. So even when I was in college, I was given, everyone is given a, you know,
Like a budget, yeah.
like a budget or pocket money. That also used to call me every week and say that, you know, I hope you're managing well. If there's anything that is needed from my end, I'm always happy to give it to you. So it was, you know, it was said in a very beautiful way where you respect money.
Yeah.
And money will come to you, and don't run after money. And in my entire life, I've never at any given point said that I need to make money, I never. It was never that. It was whatever you're passionate about, you work and money will just come.
Yeah.
Don't run after money at all, and value money. So I've never faced a financial crisis at all. And even if I had a very limited amount, imagine you're a teenager, you like to go out, but you're aware, right, that, oh, I have 20,000, I just graduated, and
Yeah.
you know, the first couple of months I have to survive on 20,000. You're aware of that. And I was made aware of it every week. So, you know, we used to have family Sundays, like, okay, Sachi, you know, are you okay? You want something else?
Yeah.
Just be mindful where you're spending, what you're spending. So it was always, you know, imagine someone who teaches you in a very right manner at such a young age, you just become that person. And in today's date, I don't ask money from anybody. And not in today's date, I've never asked money from anybody
Yeah.
till I was 16, till now. And I'm married. I've never asked a penny from my husband for anything. I've never asked a penny from my dad or my parents. Nobody. And my brother's the same way. My brother spent for his own wedding. He and his wife sponsored the entire wedding because they also come from the same thought process,
Yeah.
that they're very independent. They don't rely on anybody. And that's what my dad has said. You don't rely. It's not about me not wanting to give you. I can provide for you. But you should be independent, and come what may in your life. For example, something happens to me or anybody or your partner, whatever, you should be comfortable and you should respect your own self and be independent and say that, you know what, even if I'm alone in today's day and I don't have any family, nobody, I can survive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't call it as a challenge.
No, for sure. And I think the reason for you to never face like a financial challenge is because you've always known how to live within your means, like
Absolutely.
from the get-go. And I think that makes a massive difference. I think sometimes it's difficult, like if when you're young itself, if you haven't like inculcated that in yourself, where like you don't live within your means, then it's very difficult to face a financial challenge later down.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people who just like, oh my God, okay, let's say they've stopped working.
Yeah.
And they don't have any income coming in, but they want to spend. They want to keep spending. So it's not like
It's
a
a
one day.
mindset
Yeah, it's not a
thing.
one day thing.
Yeah.
It's
But also, I feel like, I think you did, maybe it didn't end up being a challenge, but I know for a fact, like, for example, now you mentioned that you come from a family that has the largest catering company, right? Now, yes.
Dad was the CEO of the largest catering. Yeah.
So, obviously, that regardless of anything, and I'm going to be a little crude here, it does mean that when you move out of your family's finances into a 20,000 per month job, even like living within your means, what that meant before versus after is a massive shift. So I think like it's what the fact that wasn't a challenge for you says a lot more about you than it does about like the situation. Like I think for 99% of people, if you're coming from the family of a large CEO going to a 20,000 rupee per month job and supporting yourself, like that would be a close to impossible task.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that there were days when my dad used to say no. And like, imagine you going out drinking with your friends and he's like, not today.
Yeah.
Of course, there are days where he's like, of course I will.
Yeah.
There's no issue. If, for example, I had to go for a friend's wedding, he would sponsor it. But there were days where I was like, oh my God, man, like I really wanted to go for this thing. And now he said no. And where do I get the money from? Like I can't call anybody else. So there were days, but then those days made me tougher, right? Now, in
Yeah.
those small situations, like those small challenges, saying no also to your daughter. Of course, he also didn't like saying no,
Yeah.
but I guess there were moments in my life where he felt or he realized that I was going out of boundaries or where I was doing certain things that I shouldn't be doing and I should be put to place. But he did it in a very nice way,
Yeah.
where I self understood that, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going wrong somewhere. He never said that you were wrong. Like, that was
Yeah.
never the conversation. It was just like, I just can't today.
Yeah, which is fair. And like, I think like it was more subliminal in terms
Yeah.
of like the way you were, I
Yeah.
guess, educated in that sense.
Absolutely.
So it was
Yeah.
easy because I think a lot of times when people are like headstrong about it, like the receiver doesn't receive it that well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, our last question is, what are some resources or tools that you have found invaluable in your entire journey, in regards to finances?
Finances, I use in stock market, I don't know if you guys use Zero Dhakite.
I use HDFC Securities.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay.
I have used.
Yeah,
Zero
small
Dhaka.
case. I use small case, Zero Dhakite for investments. I'm an Excel person, so I do everything on Excel.
Yeah.
My entire finance. So I do a monthly.
Oh my God, same.
I have a monthly format
Yeah.
and a quarterly format and
My
a yearly
God.
format.
Yeah.
So I assess my finances on a monthly basis, how much I've spent,
Yeah.
how much I've earned. It's like a profit and loss that you do for yourself.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really rely on any apps or such because I'm quite good at Excel. I know how to use Excel, not like a legend, but I know its basics really well. So it does the job for me. I keep track of my accounts very well, and that has helped me a lot actually. Just having a simple format of a monthly, quarterly, and yearly format to showcase how much you've made and how much you spent, what are your profits, and what is your rate of growth. So let's say if I've saved an X amount of money last year versus this year, what was my rate of growth this year? And if it was going down, that means I need to work a bit harder. So these are like small things that I do to put goals for myself for personal growth. And I keep viewing that Excel sheet every month and seeing, how well I'm doing.
Sometimes like just seeing the numbers also makes a massive difference.
Oh my God. And you feel so good. Like I said, every time I look at that sheet, I was like, oh, wow. I keep adding like, I've made this investment or like I've added this to small cap or I've made an investment in stock, and then you add that. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just let it be. But I like to see it as a whole,
Yes.
because it just keeps accumulating and then you see your wealth.
Yeah.
Which is not in front of you or not in front of your bank balance. So that is something that gives you that extra motivation to do more in life because
It's consolidated.
it's consolidated. It's lovely to look at, I must say.
I also do. I have an Excel sheet that's basically plugged in with like the entire all the portfolios plus the PPFs plus
Nice.
the assets,
Yeah.
which I update
Yeah.
3 weeks manually. So like
Yeah.
I log in and check all the
Yeah.
assets and then update it. And then like I wait for like just to see the final figure. I'm like, okay, cool.
Good. Yeah, it's a feel good factor that you've achieved something in life.
Yeah. And it just gives you a reality check. Like regardless, even if it's like the number is not the best, you know that it's not the best you can work. You're not living in delusional.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, if it's great, then you feel good about it.
Yeah.
So it's okay, amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to the last segment really quick. And it's good that this is a rapid fire. Okay, cool. How many days of leave have you taken in the last year?
How many days of leave?
7 days, so we know, between the job quitting and starting your client. Other than that,
None.
none. Crazy. Did you ever question whether it was worth it? So in the last 5 months, quitting the job, did you question whether it was worth it?
No.
No. What is the weirdest place from where you have worked?
Home.
I actually love that. What's your favorite part of the music industry?
Self-expression.
What did you do with your first profit?
I bought myself a drink.
Nice. How is your relationship with money?
Very respectful.
Nice. What's your favorite hobby that was brought back after quitting?
I'm a sports girl.
Okay.
So I play a lot of sports. So I'm into paddle right now.
Nice.
Playing a lot of
Same.
paddle.
Nice.
You should play sometime.
Yeah. Where do you play?
I play at Wings,
Okay.
NSCI, PDP.
Okay. That's it. I play at Sahara Star.
I'll come, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm always begging for slots.
Okay, cool. So sports.
Swimming, tennis,
Nice.
now paddle, of course. But yeah, sports. Just stick
Awesome.
away from that.
Do you prefer books or podcasts?
Podcast.
iPad or notebook?
Both equal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you a morning person or a night owl? You'd mentioned
Morning.
morning person,
Yeah.
yes. And what's your favorite social media?
Instagram.
Nice.
Cool. So that brings us to the end of the rapid fire segment, bringing us to the end of our conversation.
Yes.
Thank you so much
much.
for coming on board and giving us your time. We
Thank
hope you
so
enjoyed.
much. Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. It was great.